Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, C. Raj, organizer of this webinar on Masterclass on GSTAT practice, pleading and drafting. And today we are very honored to have with us a very senior chartered accountant at CA Rajat Mohanji, partner at AMRG and Associate. And today he will cover the constitution of GSTAT and jurisdiction coverage, payment of pre-deposit, can the credit ledger be utilized, situation where appeal to GSTAT is not permitted, limitation on number of adjournment per party, maximum time frame for GSTT to pass an order, review power of GSTT over its own order, authority of GSTT to examine constitutional validity of GST law, submission of additional evidence before GSTT, virtual versus physical hearing, what to expect, and emerging professional opportunity in GST legislation for our chartered accountant. And also we have with us CA Sunil Joshi ji, the moderator of today's webinar, and he will take care all the queries raised by our members. So all the members are requested to please write your query in the chat box. So after the deliberation by CA Rajat Mohanji, we will take up all your query. Even you can directly interact because our this system will allow you to interact yourself. But my request to all of you, till the deliberation of CA Rajat Mohanji is going on, please keep yourself mute so that without any interruption, we can hear his word of wisdom. So now over to CA Sunil Joshi ji.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and organizing this important event in timely session. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is CA Sunil Joshi. I'm honored to serve as a moderator for this session. We are privileged to have with us today CA Rajat Mohan, sir, a seasoned chartered accountant and a senior partner at AMRG and Associates, leads one of the North India's top tax consulting firm. His diverse client base span manufacturing, services, technology, and more. A recognized thought leader, Rajat sir, inside appears in major publications like Times of India, Economic Times, Bloomberg. He has authored numbers of tax-related publications for like Tax Sutra, Walters Clover. Rajat, Rajat sir is actively involved in PhD Chamber of Commerce, Indo-German and Indo-German French chambers. Committed to excellence, he has pursued executive education at IIM Ahmedabad and Harvard Business School. I now request to CA Rajat Mohan sir to kindly begin this session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you so much. I'll share my presentation. Sunil, this is visible, right?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So very good evening to all of you. I think I can say good evening. And just to say that I thank Raj Chawla ji, past Central Council member. I thank Sunil Joshi ji also for helping me give this master class on GST 80 practice. So guys, for just before I start, so GST 80 practice is very close to my heart. Just to give a little background, I started working in GST in 2009 or 2010. I invested so much of my time doing research on GST that when the GST papers came in 2016, our firm got a lot of work from multinational clients because we understood the rules, regulations, verbiage, etc. So in last 7-8 years, a lot of work with regard to GST has normalized. The compliances are normalized. The litigation is also forwarding, is getting normalized. There are smaller notices where accountants are able to do. Now, as a chartered accountant, we have to find places where we can add value. And the value is considerable enough not only to drive a good remuneration for ourselves, but for our teams also. So I believe that GST 80 will be a very good practice area in next few years. And unlike IT 80, which is, governed by or is majorly served by a few handful of professionals. I think GST 80 is where a lot of us can work together and drive efficiencies and work for betterment of the profession. So it's a very good practice area. This is why in last 1 or 2 months I have been all my presentations are either on GST search or Caesar, or it has been on GST appellate tribunal, because the practice area is so good now, right? So now this is the reason that I have chosen GST 80 practice, and this is the reason why I advise you also to choose it and treat it as a master class. And after this class, we'll clarify a lot of your doubts, we'll make you understand the basics. You will be able to start your journey in the practice area. So these are a lot of things that we will cover: how it is established, GST 80 versus appellate authority, which is also known as first appellate authority, GST 80 versus CSTAT, filing appeal, proceedings, order, miscellaneous professional opportunities, etc., etc. So first of all, to start with, let's start with the history of tribunals. 1950, we had Constitution of India. Just to let you know, our fathers who enshrined Constitution never imagined the that tribunals would be someday needed. It was only in 1976, by way of 42nd Amendment Act in the Constitution, whereby the concept of tribunals was introduced in the mother legislation, which is the Constitution of India. Two types of tribunals was enshrined. One were administrative tribunals and another was tribunals for other matters. But it was understood that, after completing certain adjudication or department adjudication, and after completing first appeal, it's not very profitable, or it's very lengthy or expensive to directly reach the High Court and Supreme Court. Before High Court and Supreme Court, there has to be a reasonable body who is very independent, fair, is governed by adjudication judges, and sees the laws of the land, and is also an expert of that particular matter, whether it's income tax, whether it's GST, whether it's VAT, or it's NCLT or anything. So thereby a lot of litigation, especially with regard to matter of facts, has to be limited to a forum. So it was first thought in 1976. As on date, we have a lot of tribunals working in India: income tax appellate tribunal, CSTAT, CAT, Central Administrative Tribunal, Debt Recovery Tribunal, National Green Tribunal, NCLT. One very important thing to note, that for any body, tribunal is generally the last authority which will involve itself in the fact finding, also known as the last fact finding authority. High Court and Supreme Court will never entertain an appeal or a writ uh, which involves any fact, right? It has to be a substantial question of law. It is very important for all my fellow colleagues and professionals to ensure that each and every fact is brought before the tribunal if they want a decision on the same. It cannot be carried. If you want to litigate something with regard to fact, it has to be decided on or before tribunal, which is GST 80. The basic overview of GST litigation, I know you all are well versed, but let's understand. First, the case initiates from officer, goes to the right side. First, appellate authority, also known as the appellate authority under section 107. After that, we go to appellate tribunal. After that, we go to High Court. After that, we go to Supreme Court, 117, 118. This is one way. Another way is through writ jurisdiction, writ under Article 226. We go to High Court, writ under Article 32. We go to Supreme Court. These are the two routes that we follow as of now, because there are not tribunal. A lot of people are, rather than going to appellate authority and spending time there, directly approach High Court and Supreme Court. Once tribunal is start forming, you all would have read a lot of notifications and rules that the members are being appointed on daily basis. In last few days, 5-6 members have been appointed in UP, in Gujarat, in Bihar also. Establishment and constitution of a GST appellate tribunal. First of all, we understand that GST appellate tribunal will have two types of benches: principal bench and a state bench. Principal bench will have 4 members. One is a president, judicial member. President will also be a judicial member. So two judicial members. One will be president, one will be a normal judicial member. Another two would be technical members, one from state and one from center. Every principal bench is based out of Delhi. State bench will have two judicial members. After which two judicial members, the senior most judicial member will be termed as vice president. Vice president will be basically the acting president of that particular state bench, and we'll have two technical members, one from state and one from center. GST 80, you have to be very clear. It is formed under GST law per se, which is a model law, which is a federal cooperative federalism. Both center and state take participate. GST council has both center and state, but GST 80 is one which is constituted by the central government under CGST Act. State government is neither constituting nor any state act talks about the constitution of GST 80. GST 80 tribunal is constituted by central government and not by any state government, right? Although decisions with regard to where will it be, what will happen, it has to be passed through GST council only, but formed by GST. Now there were multiple notifications. There are, I think, 31 benches with regard to state. So there are 31 benches, total 36 states including UTs, etc. This is a detailed notification which is available online. We'll also share the presentation through the medium. So Andhra Pradesh state will have one bench. The location will be Vijayawada, and Vishakhapatnam will have a sitting or a circuit bench. So what is a circuit? So location, when I say Vijayawada, Vijayawada will have a permanent GST 80 bench. Sitting bench or a circuit bench is that bench which is a rotating bench. The judges may sit here once a week, may sit here twice a week, may sit here thrice a week, may will or will sit for 15 days at length and then not come. So it is a rotating bench. So Vishakhapatnam will also have a bench which ideally would be counted as a single bench. So the judges from Vijayawada will go to Vishakhapatnam and dissolve. Similarly, Bihar will have one, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Gujarat will have two benches, one in Ahmedabad, one in Surat, Haryana, Gurugram, Himachal, Ladakh, Jharkhand, these are all the states and the places and the locations. Certain states are in the process of finalizing, and the certain states have already finalized the location. So these seven sister Arunachal, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram will have one in Guwahati and three circuit benches. Okay. Sunil bhai, do we have any questions up till now?
No, sir, not yet. We can proceed further. No
Okay.
question.
So now drawing a difference between the first appellate authority, also known as appellate authority, and GST 80. What is the difference between them? Difference is with regard to the nature of dispute. You have any dispute, if you have an order in your hand for any kind of a dispute, you can go to a appellate authority that has a jurisdiction over that officer. So any dispute. However, with regard to GST 80, a principal bench which is based out of Delhi, you can go in for any dispute. But for a state bench, they cannot see all the cases because the issue with regard to place of supply, they are not permitted or allowed to give decision or even try those cases. So all the cases with regard to place of supply would be lying at principal bench, and the state benches will discuss or give decision on all other matters. So one of the questions that may usually arise is, let us suppose my case is for disallowance of input tax credit as well as place of supply. My order from appellate authority has both. It talks about ITC disallowance as well as talks about place of supply issues also. Where will it go? Ideally, you will understand in the foregoing paras with regard to rules that a case has to be filed at a single place only. It cannot be bisected. You cannot break a case. Because place of supply, legally speaking, state benches cannot try a place of supply case, thereby entire case will fall back to principal bench. This holds a lot of importance for us professionals in order to see the opportunities. The opportunity, I believe, at the Delhi bench or the principal bench would be the highest. Because even if the large matters, There is a large matter with regard to ITC or output tax, but there is only a small matter with regard to place of supply entangled. Then the matter will lie at the principal bench. You have to be very, very careful as to where your matter will lie, because it is important to ensure that the appeal is not rejected. Understand, we will. Uh, the timelines to file an application in GST8 is 3 months, and for 3 more months, the period can be condoned. In total 6 months. What if you file at the wrong place and eventually your appeal is rejected by a state bench because it involves an issue with regard to place of supply? Now, after 6 months, you cannot go to the principal bench and say, "Ki, please hear me." Of course, it will depend upon the powers of the president, they can admit, etc. But generally speaking, in order to ensure that the appeals are admitted, we have to understand that principal bench and state bench difference. If the matter relates to place of supply, then please don't go in for a state bench, even if it is a minuscule matter, going for a principal bench. Appellate order, for any adjudicating authority, you can go in and appeal a appellate authority. However, if there is an appellate authority order or a revisional authority order, then you have to file an appeal in GSTAT, which is the second level of appeal. Pre-deposit, 10% of tax needs to be pre-deposited at the appellate authority stage, first appeals. 10% of the tax in dispute needs to be deposited at the GSTAT stage. There is a new clause with regard to, if the order is only for penalty, then the 10% penalty is also to be deposited. There are certain cases that we have discussed with the officer, which was with regard to the penalty order only under 122. Under certain section 122 1A, to one of the clients was imposed a penalty, personal penalty of 125 crores. So we were very bothered, and we ensured that the order comes very fast, because this new change in law of Finance Act 2025 was yes not in place, which is 10% of the penalty needs to be deposited. So we ensure that the amount is adjudicated by the tax officer at a very fast pace, so that if we have to file an appeal, we don't have to deposit 10% of penalty of deposit. Right. In appellate authority, you have to file an appeal within a period of 3 months. Same 3 months period we get in GSTAT also. However, period of condonation is 1 month in appellate authority, and period of condonation is with 3 months with GSTAT. Power with regard to condonation with regard to AA lies with AA. Power with regard to GST for condonation, GSTAT lies with GSTAT. Now, basic differences between a CSTAT, which is the current tribunal for service tax excise matters, majorly manual. GSTAT will be fully automated at GSTAT portal. You guys would have seen the initial gushes. The website is up and running, up and visible. I'll say you cannot file appeals as of now, although the user manual of how to file an appeal is out. So fully electronic GSTAT portal will be fully electronic. All the hearings can happen electronically. All the details and documents will be filed online. So your appeals, your rejoinders, your applications, intermittent applications, miscellaneous applications, everything would be filed online. Appeal fees, as of now, CSTAT had appeal fees. There were slab rates of 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. Minimum fees was 1,000, maximum fees was 10,000. This fees will be 1% of the tax or ITC involved. Maximum fees will be 25,000. We'll dig deeper into each of these, just trying to bring certain differences so as to understand better. Withdrawal of appeal, can we withdraw an appeal in CSTAT? Answer is yes. However, there was not any explicit rule provided. GSTAT provides an explicit rule. Disposal of cases, from the date of filing of appeal, CSTAT rule said within 3 years a case should be decided wherever possible. This period has now been reduced from 3 years to 1 year. The case has to be decided within a period of 1 year in GSTAT. The wordings are wherever possible. It is not compulsory. In CSTAT, if the final hearing has happened within a period of 6 months, you must have an order. Whereas in GSTAT, it is reduced to a period of 30 days. So meaning thereby now we'll have much after the final hearing, there will be not wastage of much time, and we'll have much faster orders. CSTAT was established under Customs Act. GSTAT is established under CGST Act. Members we have taken. Principal bench CSTAT was in Delhi. GSTAT will be in Delhi. We had only 8 regional benches in CSTAT. Now we'll have 31 state, 31 benches, and there are planning of more benches in tier 2 and tier 3 cities also. The benches are high because the workload in GSTAT will be very high, because if you understand, the VAT tribunals of every state has also been merged, ideally merged into GSTAT. So we'll not only have the cases that were picked up by CGST authority, but also SGST authority in the GSTAT also. That is why the number of benches are high, and the states are asking for higher number of benches. Can a CSTAT refuse to admit an appeal? Answer is yes. If the value of the goods confiscated is less than 2 lakh rupees, then they can refuse to admit. GSTAT can refuse to admit where the tax, input tax rate, etc., or the difference is less than 50. Filing fees we have already discussed. Rectification, can the orders be rectified? Yes. Of GSTAT, there is no fees. It's absolutely free of cost. In CSC said there was a fees of 500 rupees. The rectification has to be made, applied within a period of 6 months. GSTAT, we can get this rectified within a period of 3 months. This is a very important point. If you understand, we believe the orders in GSTAT will be better than the orders in CSTAT for the simple reason. Ideally, under section 129 subsection 3, the boss of the CSTAT was a judge of a high court or one of the members of an appellate tribunal. Whereas the boss of, which is the president, the boss of the GSTAT will be a judge of a Supreme Court or the chief justice of a high court. So just draw the parallels. There, the president was from a high court. Here, the president will be from a Supreme Court. Senior most judicial member will be the vice president. We need vice presidents in the state. Thereby, senior most judicial member will be the vice president. Okay. Sunil, I'll just take a break. Just tell me if you have any questions.
Yes, we have a question of CA Prankush Tiwari. Basically, he wanted to know in Delhi, basically, is there any your separate state bench also for Delhi, or principal bench will work there for both purpose, state and a principal?
So,
Yeah.
the benches are being formed as of now. What I've heard is principal bench has been formed. I believe Delhi state bench will be formed. I believe this. Yes, there will be a principal bench and also there will be a state bench in Delhi. But as of now, a principal bench has been formed.
Okay, right, sir.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening. Yes.
सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है हमारा ना एक केस लगा हुआ है जिसमें ना एक्चुअली ऑर्डर निकला हुआ था पिछले साल में 2024 में। तो वहां पर अभी हमारा एक ना क्लाइंट का अकाउंट फ्रीज हो चुका है, करंट अकाउंट। तो मुझे ये पता करना था कि उसकी जो अपील है हम जी स्टैट में लगा सकते हैं।
नहीं, नहीं सॉरी, आपका ऑर्डर आया, दोबारा बोलिए।
हमारा ऑर्डर आया 2024 में कि आप
ठीक है,
मतलब इतना टैक्स जमा करवाइए।
तो वो
एक्चुअल में
उसके
जब हम
अगेंस्ट आप अपीलेट अथॉरिटी में गए डबल ए में?
नहीं, अभी हम गए नहीं, हमें ना एक्चुअली ना ऑर्डर कल ही रिसीव हुआ है।
ओके।
हाँ जी, वो ऑर्डर निकल चुका था। जौन सा हमारा क्लाइंट है वो पैरालाइज्ड हो चुका था 2-3 साल से, तो सारा बिजनेस इनएक्टिव था। तो मतलब जब 3 हफ्ते पहले हमारे अकाउंट फ्रीज हो चुके हैं, तो जब वो फ्रीज हो गए तो हमें आज ही पता चला है, कल ही पता चला है कि हमारे ऊपर ऑर्डर निकला हुआ है उसका, जीएसटी डिपार्टमेंट का। तो अब हमने रेक्टिफिकेशन तो हम फाइल नहीं कर सकते, ना हम अपील फाइल कर सकते हैं सीधा, क्योंकि वो टाइम लिमिट भी निकल चुका है। तो इसके लिए हम सीधा जी स्टैट में जा सकते हैं?
नहीं 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 नहीं, ओनली अगेंस्ट, मैं आपके पास वापस आता हूँ, यहाँ पे इस स्लाइड पे आप देखेंगे एपेलेट अथॉरिटी के अंदर आप जा सकते हैं जब एडजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी का ऑर्डर है। अगर आप जीएसटी जाना चाहते हैं तो केवल और केवल तभी जा सकते हैं जब आपके पास एपेलेट अथॉरिटी का ऑर्डर है या रिविजनल अथॉरिटी। तो आपके केस में क्योंकि आपके पास ऑर्डर जो है एडजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी का है, तो आप जीएसटी डायरेक्टली नहीं जा सकते, ऐसा परमिसिबल नहीं है। अगर आप लेट हो गए थे तो अब आपको रिट जुरिस्डिक्शन में जाना पड़ेगा। रिट जुरिस्डिक्शन में जाके वो केस को रिमांड बैक करेंगे। या तो एडजुडिकेशन के अंदर या एपलेट अथॉरिटी को बोलेंगे कि प्लीज लिसन टू देम एंड डिसाइड द केस।
सर एक बार आप रिपीट कर देंगे?
हाँ, आप एडजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी के ऑर्डर के अगेंस्ट डबल ए विच इज एपलेट अथॉरिटी आप जा सकते हैं, बट अगर आपका ऑर्डर एडजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी का है, तो आप जीएसटी डायरेक्टली नहीं जा सकते, अलाउड ही नहीं है। आपको रिट ज्यूरिसडिक्शन एक्टिवेट करनी पड़ेगी, हाई कोर्ट जाना पड़ेगा और हाई कोर्ट से डायरेक्शन लेने पड़ेंगे कि दिस केस शैल बी एडमिटेड एंड डिसाइडेड वेदर बाय एडजुडिकेशन और बाय अपील्स।
सर इसमें मुझे एक और चीज पता करनी थी, जौन सी आप रीड ज्यूरिसडिक्शन कह रहे हैं, तो मतलब सीए अपील कर सकता है हाई कोर्ट में कि हमें कोई
नहीं,
एडवोकेट को हायर करना?
एडवोकेट।
एडवोकेट को। ठीक है सर, ओके जी, थैंक यू।
सर इसमें बेसिकली जो आपका कहने का मतलब कि अपीलेट अथॉरिटी को कोई पावर नहीं है कंडोनेशन ऑफ डिले की, राइट सर? ये
नहीं,
जो
एपेलेट अथॉरिटी को पावर है कॉन्डोनेशन ऑफ डिले की सिर्फ 1 महीने तक।
ओके
सिमिलरली जीएसटी 80 को पावर है कॉन्डोनेशन ऑफ डिले की 3 महीने तक, मतलब 3 महीने
ओके
ओरिजिनल पीरियड, 3 महीने एडिशनल, टोटल 6 महीना हो गया।
ओके
एपेलेट अथॉरिटी 3 महीने ओरिजिनल पीरियड, 1 महीना एडिशनल पीरियड, टोटल 4 महीना हो गया। उसके बियॉन्ड कोई पावर नहीं है। आप हाई कोर्ट के ऊपर जाएंगे रिट जुरिस्डिक्शन में, तो हाई कोर्ट ने कई जगह हेल्ड करा है कि आप लेट हो गए तो अब एपेलेट अथॉरिटी आपको कॉन्डोनेशन नहीं दे सकती, हाई कोर्ट दे सकती है। हाई कोर्ट में आप रिट डाल सकते हो कि साहब मैं लेट हो गया, पैरालिसिस हो गया, बीमार था, तो काइंडली कंडोन माय डिले, दैट हाई कोर्ट कैन डू अंडर रिट, दैट एपेलेट अथॉरिटी कैन नॉट डू अंडर एनी सर्कमस्टांसेस। सो
करेक्ट
अगर आप
करेक्ट
हाई कोर्ट में ये बोल रहे हैं कि प्लीज एपेलेट अथॉरिटी को बोलिए ताकि वो पीरियड कंडोन कर ले और हमारी एप्लीकेशन एडमिट कर ले, वो नहीं होगा। बट अगर आप हाई कोर्ट को बोलते हैं कि प्लीज यू कंडोन द डिले एंड आस्क एपेलेट अथॉरिटी टू लिसन टू अस और एडजुडिकेटिंग, वो हो जाएगा। ठीक है ना, तो कंडोनेशन की पावर नहीं है डबल ए और ट्रिपल स्टेट।
थैंक यू सर, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन था सर। एक और क्वेश्चन है वैभव गुप्ता का, वो फीस के रिगार्डिंग पूछना चाहते हैं, अदर देन प्री डिपॉजिट हमें कितने फीस पे करना है?
वैभव, फीस यार वी विल डिस्कस इन मच मोर डिटेल, इसमें कुछ क्वेश्चंस भी हैं, मैं आपके सामने सब कुछ खोल के रखूंगा। बट मिनिमम फीस जो आपको जीएसटी 80 में देना है वो है 5,000 और मैक्सिमम है 25,000। अब ये फीस लिखी हुई है सीजीएसटी लॉ के अंदर, तो जैसा डबल ए आर या ट्रिपल ए आर में चलता है, द फीस इज देयर इन सीजीएसटी लॉ, द सेम फीस इज देयर इन एसजीएसटी लॉ आल्सो, इट विल बिकम डबल। मिनिमम फीस will practically be 10,000 and maximum fees will be 50,000. The
ठीक है
fees
सर।
according to my mind Webber is very high. आप देखिए पहले सर्विस टैक्स के अंदर सिर्फ 10,000 फीस थी, अब मिनिमम फीस आ गई है। मैक्सिमम फीस पहले 10,000 थी, अब मिनिमम फीस 10,000 आ गई, तो आई थिंक फीस इज वेरी हाई। गवर्नमेंट शुड ट्राई टू रिड्यूस इट, कम अप विद सम काइंड ऑफ क्लैरिफिकेशन, द फीस इज वेरी हाई।
सर इनफैक्ट कमिंग टू दैट, जो quantum of appeals है in comparison to the CSTAT, it is going to be exponentially bigger, तो automatically fees should have been lesser than that of CSTAT.
यार आइडली टू माय बिलीफ सिस्टम, देखो जब ये सी स्टेट का फीस आया होगा उसके बाद से आज तक the the this inflation would have been so many times. A B, the idea of the government from setting up GST 80 should not be to earn revenue. The idea should be to to give fair and impartial judgments. Because GST is a new law, so there has to be so much of litigation. Ideally, the fee should be exempt, to my mind, for first couple of years, because this is the duty of the government to ensure that the decision is free and fair, क्योंकि टैक्स इतना इन्वॉल्व होगा। तो people should be, because GST 80 will lay down so many rules and regulations and clarify so many important points। अभी तक हाई कोर्ट और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बहुत बड़े बड़े मैटर, सफारी रिट्रीट्स एटसेट्रा हैज clarified, but there are certain nuances in GST which only a fact finding authority, GST 80 ground principle they will lay down, which as of now does not exist. To my mind, government should exempt this fees for at least couple of years, जब तक पिछला बैकलॉग खत्म होके एक बेसिक jurisprudence GST क्रिएट नहीं कर देता।
Right,
This is
sir.
my
And
view.
sir, adding to that, adding to what you said, if the High Court or the Supreme Court had made any comments or observation with regards to specifically ITC and admissibility, तो GST का purpose ही defeat हो जाएगा, because then it is a settled law if the High Court or the Supreme Courts make a comment in that.
Agreed.
Right, sir.
Now, moving to the next topic, filing appeal before GST 80. Section 112 to subsection 1. First of all, we have to notice that an appeal to GST80 can be filed within a 3 months period only by the aggrieved person. जिसका नुकसान हुआ है, जिसका GST number है, whosoever ITC has been disallowed, he can only file the appeal. Any other person cannot file it. And I'll tell you, this appeal has to be filed within a period of 3 months from the date of the order communicated or the date as may be notified. There's a very good story on this. Let me just share. इससे पहले ये कर लेता हूँ. Computation, if let us suppose your order is passed on 1st of May 2024, but the date notified by government is 1st October 2025. Thereby, we will calculate 3 months period from 1st October 2025 only. 1st January is a holiday, thereby the last date will be 2nd January 2026. Dates का बहुत ख्याल रखना है, and we have to ensure that we don't file on the last date. We have to file couple of days before because technically there could be errors on the portal. Second, let us suppose the order is passed on 1st December 2025. The date notified by government is October 2025. In such case, 1st December, January, Feb. On 1st March, you have to file the appeal. 1st March 2026. It's very important. Can there be condonation of delay? Yes. टैक्स पेयर को 3 महीने का कॉन्डोनेशन मिल सकता है, डिपार्टमेंट को 3 महीने का कॉन्डोनेशन मिल सकता है, क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शंस को 45 डेज का कॉन्डोनेशन मिल सकता है. हाउएवर, व्हाट इज टू बी नोटेड that this condonation is not straight and simple condonation. You as a taxpayer have to supply sufficient reasons and request the tribunal to allow the appeal and condone the delay. It is not automatic. It is not like you can just say ki boss, I was not able to file in 3 months period, but I have filed on the first day. Immediately after completion of 3 months, I have filed on the first day. It will be rejected. You have to give what was the sufficient cause why you were not able to file the appeal within a period of. Next, someone has asked me a question: can we file an appeal against an order of advance ruling in GST80? Answer is no. Can we file an appeal against the order of appellate authority for advance ruling to GST80? Answer is no. Advance ruling के against appellate authority of advance ruling में चले जाओगे, उसके बाद there is no process, you have to initiate writ. Okay. Yeah, just a minute. Let me. एक बार अच्छा था. Yes, this was very important. Let me discuss this with you first. So मैंने बोला आपको you have to file your appeal within a period of 3 months. Initially 2017 में जो law था ना, वो law कहता था from the date of communication of order you have to file an appeal in 3 months. Now my order came to me in 2018. But there is no appellate tribunal. Where will I go? I will go directly to High Court. So this law was changed in 2019. Now the government said the date of communication of order or the date on which the president enters into the office, the president of the tribunal, जिसको अभी hire करे हुए काफी time हो गया है. The moment he enters into the office, within the period of 3 months, the appeal has to be filed. Now there was confusion. When did he enter? Right? And again, there is a lot of period that has passed, a lot of water has flown below the bridge. What to do? In this case, government amended the law again in 2024, which they very clearly said that the order, which is the date of communication of the order or the date as may be notified by the government, उसके 3 महीने के बाद later of the two dates आपको appeal file करना है. So now it is very clear. This is the last change in this provision. The moment government will notify a date, as of now, no date has been notified. The moment government notifies a date or the date it is communicated, whichever is later, उससे 3 महीने का period आपको मिलेगा filing करने. Now going back. Yes. सुनील जी अभी तक कुछ है क्या?
नहीं सर, अभी कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है, कंटिन्यू कर सर.
चलो गुड. अब मैं थोड़ा सा I'll just take up a little tough thing in this. Filing of appeals. अगर if you have one adjudicating authority order, जिसको I think हम बोलते हैं DRC 07, then there will be one appellate order. APL 01, APL 02, the appellate authority का जो order होगा वो एक होगा. तो GST 80 appeal एक फाइल होगी. One order, one appellate order, one GST 80 appeal. ठीक है. But if there are multiple orders, बहुत सारे orders थे डिपार्टमेंट के, उसके अगेंस्ट एपलेट अथॉरिटी ने सबको बंडल अप करके एक एपलेट ऑर्डर दे दिया है, इन दैट केस जीएसटी 80 में एक अपील फाइल नहीं होगी, मल्टीपल अपील्स फाइल होंगी, जितने ओरिजिनल ऑर्डर्स थे, ऑर्डर इन ओरिजिनल ओआईओ, राइट? दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट. इसके लिए हमने फॉर्म में भी जगह है, it has to be written where and how, what is the number, but the important point is if you have multiple orders and one appellate order, supposedly बहुत बार क्या होता है, एक ही जीएसटी है, एक ही जीएसटी में I'll tell you in Rajasthan what is happening. For a single audit that they have completed, there are 12 paras. Against that 12 paras, they are issuing 12 different orders. 12 नोटिस आएंगे, ऑडिट आपका कंप्लीट हो गया, एक साल का ऑडिट था, उस एक साल के ऑडिट में 12 पॉइंट पकड़े गए, तो 12 पॉइंट के अगेंस्ट 12 डिफरेंट शोकॉज नोटिस आएंगे, 12 डिफरेंट शोकॉज नोटिस के अगेंस्ट 12 डिफरेंट ऑर्डर्स आएंगे. ये राजस्थान कर रहा है. हाउएवर जब आप अपील में जाओगे, देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि वो 12 के 12 ऑर्डर्स को इकट्ठे करके एक एपलेट ऑर्डर दे दिया जाए. जीएसटी के अंदर आपको जितने 12 ऑर्डर्स थे ओरिजिनली, उतने ही जीएसटी 80 अपील्स फाइल कर. Biggest problem in this case would be the fees that you have to pay. My dear friends, our fees is 10,000, are not our fees. First, the fees taken by GSTAT. The minimum fees is 10,000. So 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000 is becomes the fees. Next, the problem would be your fees. Because you have to do multiple filing. जो केस एक ही फाइलिंग में हो सकता था, वो 12 बार फाइल होगा. तो whether your fees will go 12x, it will not be 1. It will not be 1x. It will be multiplier. But what will be that, we have to see. Many a times we see that in case of a DGGI audit or a DGGI investigation, there is a single show cause notice given to 80 parties, 100 parties. Similarly, it can happen in appellate authority also, whereby there is a single order in case of fraud, etc., or a fake invoicing casing. They pass a single appellate authority order for more than one person. In this case also, GST 80 rules very clearly say that you have to give, every person has to file a different GST 80 appeal. It cannot be a single, right? This is the form. Form and content of appeal. First of all, very, very important. All the basic details have to be given. ये हम लोग as a chartered accountant, I have seen so many of us not do this. Every paragraph has to be numbered. दो पैराग्राफ के बीच में आप एक लाइन स्पेस का जगह छोड़ेंगे. द बेस्ट केसेस, अगर आप कोई हाई कोर्ट का किसी ने अपील बना रखा है, आप प्लीज ले लीजिए उसको एंड यू जस्ट सी हाउ इट इज बीइंग डन. So every paragraph has to be numbered. Every page has to be numbered. Every fact has to be very, very clearly structured in a separate paragraph. अगर आपने दो पैराग्राफ लिखे हैं, तो दो, you cannot write the same thing in two paragraphs. One thought, one understanding, one claim has to be in one paragraph. Next paragraph, you have to say something else. It may be on the same matter, but the discussion has to be little different. Grounds of appeal has to be given very well prepared, must be briefly prepared. On each ground of appeal must be separately indicated. Grounds of appeal are not admissible at a later stage. If you want to add any ground of appeal, then please add it right here, right now. Later on, it is expected that tribunal will not accept additional grounds. It has to be typed in a very, very clearly format. A4 size paper पे होना चाहिए, double line spacing होना चाहिए. Should be duly paged, indexed, tagged in the form. I'll tell you, I had a hearing in the last week itself, and the case was against, India's biggest and the most valuable company, one of the most valuable company, top 10 companies of India. In that case, the judge, so the appeal came, the hearing the hearing case came to judge after 6 months or so, but on the date of hearing, just said that the indent is very small. I am not able to read it. B, the printing of the page, because it has been lying with us for 6 months, it has become so light I can't read it. Your attachments, your invoices are very light. I can't read it. Thereby, they have given us all the documents back to us and said, please refile all the documents. The problem is not of the filing again. The problem is now I will get a date after 6 months once again. So please ensure the basic issues, the basic formatting, the basic clearly typing, A4 size paper, not a legal size, but a A4 size paper, double space, index. Don't type on both the sides, type on only one side. Has to be tagged and an appeal has to be submitted. Please make it dark. बहुत बार हम लोग क्या करते हैं? We take up invoices, we take up e-way bills, and we just do a normal photocopy in our office and supply. Tribunals ऐसे नहीं सुनेंगे. The e-way bills, the e-invoices, the invoices have to be printed in a very very dark format that is very clearly visible. अगर आपका टोन लाइट हो गया है, प्लीज बाहर से प्रिंटिंग करवा लीजिए. There are special printers who can get it darker. Just photocopy will come darker. Please, that is very, very, because I faced it last week itself. All the documents order has to be self-certified. There, with regard to self-certification, there is some anomaly between CGST rules and the GST procedural rules. ये हम लोग दिखा रहे हैं क्या anomaly है. एक जगह पे लिखा है कि it has to be self-certified, that is the taxpayer has to certify. दूसरी जगह पे लिखा है it has to be certified by the authority, which ideally it will correct. अभी कोई जरूरत नहीं है. This is again issue. Can GSTAT appeal be filed manually? Answer is yes. Appeal can be filed manually. The registrar has to permit by a special or general order. What we understand is registrar will permit, not in all the cases, only when the portal is down, there is a problem in the portal, or where the submissions are so bulky, it may be running into 10 or 20 files that you are not able to upload it in a practical manner. Then only we understand registrar of that state bench will permit. This will leave it. Yes, this is very, very important. Sunilji, I'll come to this after a minute or so. I want to know if there are any questions up till now I would like to discuss.
Yes, sir. So there is one question of CA Rashi Verma. She wanted to know where it is mentioned that pre-deposit has to be 10% of penalty in case of penalty order.
Sorry, come again. Sorry, I
So
missed
she
it.
wanted to know where it is mentioned that the 10%, the pre-deposit is 10% of penalty order in case of penalty, basically.
This is a new case, Rashi. In the Finance Act 2025, this change has come. I think it is yet to be notified. So this is in this section only 112. Section 112 will have it, and in the form of a, I think, explanation or some proviso. You just see 112, or you see Finance Act 2025. There's a addition in this.
Okay.
So,
And one more question. Yeah, please.
please.
So one more question, sir. Mridu Jamba, she wanted to know what is rationale behind this multiple GSTAT appeal. आपने भी बताया था कि आपको हर
Yeah, hi
case-
sir.
Yeah.
Hi, Rajat I just wanted to ask one thing that so we also read the GST Appellate Tribunal Procedure Rules, which provides that if there are multiple adjudication orders and there's one order by the appellate authority, so we have to go for multiple appeals before the appellate tribunal. That's what we discussed here also. So my question is that when we go for a first appellate authority, first appeal, and that appeal is against the show cause, against the order in original or the order passed by the adjudicating authority. So which is why one order and then one appeal. So we can say multiple orders and multiple appeals. However, we are going at the GST80 level against the OIA, which is order in appeal, and not against the OIO.
Yes.
So,
yes.
filing of multiple appeals against one OIA and multiple OIOs, sort of distorts the whole, reasoning behind it. Is there any rationale that could justify this?
So this is one point. You will see that the point is marked yellow. So I
Yes.
was also not very happy with this provision, and I also initially believed that because we have one OIA, one order from appeal. So business senior authority is a higher authority. There is a reason why appellate authority or the first appeal has given a single order to multiple orders. They've clubbed it up. So the
Correct.
same rationale or same reason, you're talking to a senior authority, senior judges, more number of judges, etc. The time is more precious. So they
Mm-hmm.
ideally should pass a single order. But when I discuss with someone who is close to GSTN, he said,
Mm-hmm.
because we are working in a corporate federal structure and there are so many tax officers, just I just mentioned, he's giving 12 notices for a single audit order. So a lot of states are following different sets and different procedures. So they said we want to make the entire
Correct.
process of filing very seamless and very digital. So show cause notice is your
Okay.
first stage whereby the order is the first document that is loaded on the system. So we want to ensure that the life cycle
Okay.
of an order remains very straight, whereby you have an order, you have an appeal, you have a second appeal. So that is why we want to, matlab ideally, he said ki eventually after doing this, when appellate tribunals, there are 12 orders, appellate authority gives one order, tribunal again takes up 12 matters. Eventually, appellate authority will also give 12 orders. It's only a work in progress to bring everyone on
Correct.
board to ensure अगर आपका एक order है तो एक appeal होना चाहिए, एक appeal है तो एक second appeal होना चाहिए. So he said the system is driven in such a manner that they are tied to the original orders. Appellate order is only a pass-through order. This is a very technical answer with regard to how the portal that they are designing.
Okay. Okay. Got it, sir. Thank you. One more doubt. There was a query in the previous, question answer session by Shubham ji, wherein he told you that his client was paralyzed and his bank account has been freezed, where you recommended that writ would be the correct remedy for the matter. So, if we go by writ, there are certain modes. We cannot just go, in a writ just because there's no other. We cannot, because there's no delay from our end. It either has to be a mandamus or it has to be a certiorari. There has to be a form of writ. So, would this undue delay fall in under any writ, and would this be addressed by the High Court, or what is the surety that this would not be, prima facie dismissed by the High Court?
Okay. First of all, I never advise that High Court is the right forum. What I advise is this cannot be admitted by GSTAT or appellate authority. So what remains is High Court now. If you want to still try your luck, High Court is the right forum. But what, I'm not High Court, but what it seems to be a paralysis or a brain stroke or any medical issue is a very, very reasonable argument to claim condonation of delay. I am not saying that I will not deposit tax. I am just saying, listen to me. And in the sense of justice, in order to ensure justice and fairness, any court has to ensure that you are being heard, that the principles of natural justice has to be followed. Thereby, I have a strong belief that opportunity of being heard would be granted.
Uh, I do agree, sir. Actually, it was more out of curiosity because there is a recent case law which also has addressed an issue where the respondent was not well and he could not respond to the show cause notice. You might have heard it's come very recently in the past month only. So I just wanted to get your insight on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Mridu, I'll tell you one more thing. There's a uh, it lot depends upon the person who is litigating. I'll give you two examples. I hope this discussion is beneficial to everyone. So first example is that there was some ruling from High Court, same matter with regard to processing of alcohol. There were two lawyers.
Okay.
One was I let me not take the name. One was I think UB Group and another was another company. Okay, two companies. On the same issue, they have approached the, I suppose, same High Court or different High Court. One High Court have said very, and the across industry in the processing of alcohol, the entire thing is same. The facts are absolutely same. The documentation is absolutely same, etc., etc. The first High Court said in particular circumstances, the tax is imposable. There is no doubt. The second High Court said there is no doubt the tax is not imposable. And such a beautiful case, you read both the cases side by side. One lawyer is very clearly saying facts, and another lawyer is clearly stating the problems that if tax is imposed, what will happen. So it lot depends upon the person. One thing is this. Another thing I'll tell you, I in down south, I got one of the cases from my client. This is for everyone. And my client wanted the particular transaction to be tax free. He said, "Yeah, advance ruling pe chala jaye and there should be no tax on the same." You all know that the advance ruling are revenue centralized authority, and 90% the chances that we will lose the case. Whatsoever you may say does not matter. In this, somewhere in down south, Hyderabad, also I don't remember, we took up that case to the authority, and my argument to that authority was that this is a taxable transaction. Even in our prayer, we said that according to us, this transaction should be taxed at the rate of 18%. However, and if there are 20 pages of submission, 19 pages I have written that it should be taxed, and one page I have written alternatively. We also believe it could be zero rated, not zero rated, but it could be in a tax exempt supply. So thereby, no tax is impossible. However, when I was giving a presentation to tax officer, I said, I don't believe it should be zero rated. I believe it should be imposed, tax should be imposed on this, and you may, tax the same. You'll be astonished on that very day that the same bench who has been giving revenue centric orders, they all were grilling me ki why you are not taking the exemption, because according to us this item should be exempt. You want to take you want to pay the tax. We believe there is a huge input tax credit in your GSTN. So they asked me how much credit do you have in your GSTN. So I, on officially on grounds, I said that you cannot ask, you are not allowed to ask me this question. Neither can you get it checked, because then it will not be a fair or justice. It does not depend. The classification of the tax rate does not depend upon the ITC that I have in my ledger. So that hearing was over the same day. Order was passed in our favor saying that no tax should be imposed. It's a tax neutral. Right? There was no ITC that we have. We wanted it to be zero rated. So Mridu, what I'm saying is it lot depends upon the person who is arguing, the lawyer who is it, how he perceives. Right.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
agree, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mridu.
Sir, Rajat sir, if you allow me, can I please add something? I just want
Please,
something,
please.
want your opinion regarding something.
Please.
Sir, in my opinion, even let alone GSTAT, even the High Courts and the Honorable Supreme Court can also not condone the delay beyond the 3 months. The 1 month in the case of First Appellate Authority and 3 months in case of GSTAT. Because the Limitation Act does not squarely apply to the GST Act. There is a specific provision with regards to the condonation of delay in the GST Act itself. Once that period has crossed, once the timeline has been breached, it cannot be condoned, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, it cannot be condoned under the jurisdiction also. And has been held by the Honorable Supreme Court in multiple cases with regards to different statutes and different taxing acts. And that is what I believe will stand in this GSTAT as well.
Okay. Cool. So I have a little different opinion. I believe that High Court may not be able to do it, but I think writ jurisdiction, the paralysis case is a very good case and a reasonable cause, whereby such condonation can be granted by High Court and the Supreme Court. It's good to have a lot of opinions.
Good, sir. Right, sir.
Sunil bhai, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. No further questions, sir. We can proceed further.
Okay. So guys, pre-deposit for appeal, section 112 subsection 8 says no appeal can be filed unless the tax, interest, fine, penalty and fees is deposited in full for the admitted liabilities. मतलब अगर आपने कुछ टैक्स, इंटरेस्ट, फाइन, फी, पेनल्टी मान लिया है, तो you'll have to deposit it to the extent of 100%. However, in case of unadmitted tax liabilities, which is tax in dispute, you have to deposit 10% before an appeal has been filed. The provision is same in appellate authority and appellate tribunal. Right? 10% has to be submitted. दो तीन बातें. Does a GST appellate tribunal has power to waive pre-deposit? Answer is not. Answer is no. They cannot waive off the pre-deposit. B. There is a very small and minute difference. It has not been tested. CSTAT के अंदर the provision was the tribunal or the commissioner appeal, as the case may be, shall not entertain any appeal if a pre-deposit is not made. Whereas in GST80 the provision is no appeal shall be filed. इसके ऊपर अभी तक कोई भी क्लैरिफिकेशन, सर्कुलर ऑर्डर कुछ नहीं है. आई एम जस्ट गिविंग माय ओन सेंस ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग. CSTAT के अंदर द अपील कैनॉट बी एंटरटेन बट यू कैन फाइल. GSTAT के अंदर इट कैनॉट बी फाइल्ड. मीनिंग देयर बाय, अगर आपने 10% जमा नहीं करा है टैक्स इन डिस्प्यूट का, तो वो आपकी अपील फाइल ही नहीं होगी. हो सकता है पोर्टल अलाउ नहीं करेगा, पोर्टल अलाउ कर देगा तो हो सकता है रजिस्ट्रार ही डिसअलाउ कर देगा. It will not be assumed to be filed. It has not been filed itself. Whereas the CSTAT provision say it should not be entertained. तो होता क्या था, CSTAT के अंदर बहुत सारे वकील या बहुत सारे professionals used to file an appeal and say that there are reasons or provisions that we cannot make a pre-deposit. Give us a reasonable hearing, and we want to argue that this is we cannot deposit, and please waive off the pre-deposit. Okay? So there is a difference which is very, very minute. It cannot be entertained, but it can be filed. In GST law, it cannot be filed. No appeal shall be filed. You are not allowed. The difference is very minute, but may have very large repercussions. Okay. ये मैं अच्छा ठीक है, यहाँ पे I will discuss one more thing. Now, this is a point of that we all can discuss. I want to discuss this practically. Let's assume there is a DGGI search that has happened in the premises. And the DGGI search, the DGGI said there is a tax evasion of 10 crore rupees. You kindly deposit 10 crores rupees and we will close down the investigation. Because of which you have deposited 10 crore rupees, you have deposited interest, you have deposited penalty on the same, as agreed with DGGI. So DGGI did not officially give you an order, but said कि यार ऑफ बंद हो गया. और आपने उस इन्वेस्टिगेशन के दौरान लिख के दिया कि ना तो कोई कोर्शन हुआ है, ना कोई सपरेशन हुआ है, ना मुझे परेशान करा गया, अपनी मर्जी से कि 10 करोड़ रुपए जमा कर. उसके बाद शो कॉज नोटिस आता है 100 करोड़ रुपए का. नाउ माय क्वेश्चन टू यू, इससे लिंक करूंगा बाद में. माय क्वेश्चन टू यू ऑल गैदरिंग इज दिस अ डिस्प्यूटेड लायबिलिटी और इज इट एन एडमिटेड लायबिलिटी? 100 करोड़ का नोटिस आया है, 10 करोड़ रुपए जमा करा है, तो माय क्वेश्चन इज विद रिगार्ड टू 10 करोड़ टैक्स, इंटरेस्ट, फाइन, फी, पेनल्टी प्लस. यू हैव अग्रीड दैट दिस इज माय, आई एग्री दैट आई हैव इवेडेड टैक्स. आपने बिल्कुल अच्छा बयान दिया है, लिख के दिया है, ओथ में दिया है. सो नाउ इज दिस एन अग्रीड लायबिलिटी और दिस इज अ डिस्प्यूटेड लायबिलिटी? आई थिंक आप सब अपना आंसर चैट बॉक्स में लिख देंगे, मैं देख लूंगा. सब तो बोल नहीं सकते. So just to say, retraction आपने ये फाइल जब करा, आपने लिख के दिया, एंड देयर इज कंसिडरेबल पीरियड. 2019 में आपके लिख के दिया कि भैया मेरे पर कोई प्रेशर नहीं है, कोई कोर्शन नहीं हुआ, कुछ नहीं हुआ, मैं मर्जी से जमा कर रहा हूँ. ये डिस्प्यूटेड लायबिलिटी है या एडमिटेड लायबिलिटी? ओके, एडमिटेड. नाउ नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन ऑन दिस इज, 2019 में आपने अग्री कर लिया कि एडमिटेड लायबिलिटी है, एंड लेट सपोज एडजुडिकेशन करते करते 3-4 डिस्प्यूटेड अंडर प्रेशर. अच्छा, अंकुर गर्ग जी कह रहे डिस्प्यूटेड अंडर प्रेशर. ओके, ठीक है. 3-4 साल निकल गए और 2022-23 के अंदर जाके आपको अपील फाइल करना था इस केस में. नाउ द प्रॉब्लम इज, if this is admitted liability, you have deposited 100%. If it is not admitted or it is a disputed liability, then you have to deposit only 10%. according to you, can we change and say that this is a disputed liability? We do not agree on this liability that we have deposit of 10 crore rupees. Thereby, this is not admitted by us. This is disputed by us. Can we do this? Let me give you some more reasons to it. Why will I do it? आप सोचिएगा, अगर मेरे पास नोटिस आया 100 करोड़ रुपए का, मेरी एडमिटेड लाइबिलिटी है 10 करोड़ रुपए, मैं 10 करोड़ जमा कर चुका हूं, 90 करोड़ इज नॉट एडमिटेड, आई विल हैव टू डिपॉजिट 9 करोड़ मोर टू द एक्सचेकर. बट अगर मैं बोलता हूं कि भैया मैंने जो पहले एडमिट कर रखा था उसको मैं नॉट एडमिट कर रहा हूं और उसको मैं लिटिगेट करना चाहता हूं, तो अब डिस्प्यूटेड लाइबिलिटी हो गई 100 करोड़ रुपए, एडमिटेड हो गई 0. 10 करोड़ 10% ऑफ 100 करोड़ इज 10 करोड़. 10 करोड़ ऑलरेडी डिपॉजिट, देयर बाय एडिशनल डिपॉजिट इज 0. So now my question to you, all of you, is at the time of filing an appeal, can we change our admission and say that, boss, this is disputed liability or this is not disputed liability? Can we change our admission? Anyone wants to ask me any clarification on this, please ask me. Or you want to answer, please answer in the group.
Sir, my question here is that if we have admitted the liability before, या तो न्यू फैक्ट्स हैव कम टू लाइट या कोई रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव चेंज हुआ है लॉ में.
रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव कोई भी चेंज नहीं
तो-
हुआ है. और लेट अस सपोज न्यू फैक्ट्स, तो यार देखो फैक्ट्स तो मेरी मर्जी के ऊपर है.
करेक्ट.
It's all under my control, है ना? So I can say, let's assume there are no new facts, no new law, no new case law, nothing has come.
So only because I want to just save some working capital, if we put it like that. So I just want to change my classification of admission.
हाँ, मतलब this I will not write in the document that because I want to save my working capital.
Sure.
When
That's the mindset of the client.
that's not the mindset of the client. In fact, I'll tell you that this is our mindset. As a professional, I have fought this case of the biggest tax firm in India. They said that admission cannot be changed, and we said admission can be changed. So you,
But
anyone
how
else
so,
has a
sir?
question? Anyone else has a question on this, then please ask me.
Sir, in case we accept the contention that admission can be changed, won't it become a practice in general? Every other person would try to change their admission just to escape the pre-deposit, just to escape the liability of the pre-deposit, because taking into account that a certain amount, whatever it is, has already been deposited. Admitting or not admitting is a separate issue. But since I've already deposited some amount, let us take that into consideration and escape from depositing the amount that needs to be there. And let's dispute it in case it goes very well. Otherwise, let's take it that way. I mean, is it not going to become a practice if that is the case?
How does it matter? It can. So every one of you can, file a writ in High Court and say that my fundamental rights are withheld. Did it become a practice? No. Can it become a practice? Answer is yes. But
no, sir. The reason I'm pointing out for it to become a practice is because the department or the GSTAT might not allow it, saying that it might become a practice, and thus we do not allow changing the admission later.
agreed. This is a new law that you want to frame. But as of now, let's talk. Does the Act, rules, regulation, circular, notification? So my answer is obviously you guys would have guessed that I am saying that admission can be changed. In this case, the liability was hundreds of crores, and I changed the admission of my client, and we saved. Our appeal was filed. It has been taken on record. It is not a case of GST80, the first appellate authority. They have taken the case on record, and so that proves that the admission can be changed. And can you tell me any regulation which says that your admission cannot be changed? I can change my admission on such flimsy grounds also, saying that my tax head is changed, or I did not read my law carefully. That is how, my dear friends, tax officer also imposes a penalty on us. I believe my commodity is to be taxed at the rate of 5%. Tax officer says, nahi, nahi, yaar, aapne galat padha HSN. It's 18%. We agree to it. We change our admissions. Similarly, if certain admissions are to be changed in our benefit, who stops us? We can change those admissions also.
But sir, at some point when you say that we admit that we had not read the law carefully, it is said that ignorance of law is no excuse.
No, I will not write,
We
Mitu, that.
cannot say.
No, I will not
Mm-hmm.
write in that document. It's just to explain that the grounds of changing my admission could be very simple.
Okay, okay,
And the
okay.
form of filing an appeal does not anywhere requires me to tell me the grounds why I have changed my admission. मतलब देखो मैंने जब admit करा होगा तो that is a document, that is a statement. Of course, when you are deciding on merits as a judge, you will bring that statement in front of me and say, Rajat, first you agreed in 2019. Now you disagree. Tell me what has changed. You can ask me on merits. But the only question is with regard to pre-deposit. So मेरे लिए केस इतना जरूरी था मृदु. We were sitting on hundreds and crores of demands. My client needed to collect
Mm-hmm.
at least 30-40 crores for pre-deposit overnight because this appeal was so huge that उसको बनने में ही बहुत समय लग गया. And client said, it's very difficult to collect those 30-40 crores. So we said, we
Okay.
don't need to deposit. We can change the admission and, अब बाद में you will of course have to pay interest because we actually believe वो 10 करोड़ रुपए जमा होना है. There is no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Remaining 90 crores we will be let go. तो बोले change
Mm-hmm.
the admission. But the problem in this case was one of the biggest law firm in the country. They said that we don't agree to this tax position. Exactly what you guys are saying. So we stood by our position, and finally this appeal was heard. The matter is not decided as yet, but it was admitted. So
So.
my
Mhm.
serious, so sorry, just one more line. So I believe admission can be changed. Admission can be changed on at any point in time, not only while filing double authority, but by appellate authority also. If you file, you can change your admission, and no one asks you to give the reasons for change in admission. They may ask you the reasons that you have admitted this, and now for merits we want to decide. Can you? Okay. So this I believe. So in my case, so there's no case law. I think I would have quoted certain case laws while filing this, but as my case is not decided, so that cannot be provided. Anyone else has a question, or we can of course discuss right here.
Sir, no further question. We can proceed, I think.
Okay. One more thing I'll tell you. आप देखिएगा ये बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट है ये एज ऑफ नाउ वी हैव फाइल्ड डबल ए अपील. आप देखिए लॉ में क्या लिखा है. नो अपील शैल बी फाइल्ड इन फुल अनलेस such part of tax, interest, fine, fee, penalty arising from the impunged order is being admitted and deposited, right? तो हो सकता है कि आप टैक्स को एडमिट कर लो, अब इंटरेस्ट को एडमिट नहीं करते हो. इंटरेस्ट एडमिट कर लो, पेनल्टी एडमिट नहीं करते हो. पेनल्टी एडमिट करते हो, टैक्स और इंटरेस्ट एडमिट नहीं करते हो, राइट? But as of now, the portal that has been framed, the moment you admit certain tax, उसका interest और उसका penalty automatically admit हो जाता. Whereas in our case, we were okay to admit the tax, but we were not okay to admit interest. उस पे वो section 50 subsection 1 का जो आया change, वो उसका benefit नहीं मिल रहा था, penalty impose नहीं होनी चाहिए थी. So thereby it was a second reason of putting the entire amount as a disputed amount. So just be very careful. I think law intends us to deposit whatever we have admitted. If we have not admitted fine, fee, penalty, interest, we should not deposit the same. Moving forward.
So sir, just to sorry, I hope we have time for this query. Just to clarify, for example, if you admitted a admitted a demand, say on some ground, however, the proceedings were going under Section 74. So you can say that you are challenging the invocation of Section 74 and not the demand. Is that where you are going?
No, I am not going on that. So what I'm saying is, if there is an order saying that, you are chargeable under Section 74, thereby there is a tax, interest, penalty, fine, fee, etc. I may say, so the grounds of appeal बाद में आता है. What are the reasons that you don't admit? Admission के time पे I may say that I agree to the demand of 10 crores, but whatever interest you have levied, whatever penalty you have levied, whatever fee you have levied, I don't agree to that. बट द पोर्टल इस तरीके से डिजाइन है, द मोमेंट यू पुट इन टैक्स अमाउंट इन एडमिशन, वो सारी लाइन आइटम भर देता है एंड यू आर बाउंड टू पे दैट. दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम.
Correct. Hmm. All right, sir. Thank you.
Guys, so we'll now take questions little later. Allow me to complete the presentation. Can a pre-deposit be made from the balance in credit ledger? Answer is yes. There has been decision of Gujarat High Court, Bombay High Court, Gujarat High Court, and there has been a clarification also 172/04/2022. Any payment towards an output tax, whether assessed or self-assessed in the return or payable as a consequence of any proceeding, it can be made through a credit ledger. Supreme Court has recently dismissed the SLP filed against the Gujarat High Court ruling in the case of Yasho Industries, saying that it will be admitted. Perfect. Going forward, fees we have discussed. So fees, man, there is little problem. First, the fees problem is that if there is a demand, so let's just see that in the table, the minimum case. If CGST SGST demand is 1 lakh, 1 lakh, then the tax calculated is 2000. The fee rule applies to 5000 plus 5000. Fee payable shall be 10,000. The maximum case, there is a demand of 30 lakh, 30 lakh in ST, SC. Total dispute is 60 lakhs. Fee calculated is 1%, 60,000. Fee deposit will be 25,000, 25,000. Now there are a couple of problems. First is IGST. In IGST, the total demand is 2,50,000. The fees of 1% is 2,500. Now, if the fee rule applies, because the fee rule that IGST refers to is CGST rules, thereby the fee should be 5,000. Or, because IGST is a component of CGST plus SGST, fees will be 10,000. As of now, I don't have an answer. I don't want to commit anything on this. Similar problems will arise whereby the demand is under all the three tax codes, CGST, SGST, and IGST. What would be the final fee payable? I don't have an answer to these. Let's wait and watch what department will clarify or circulars will come on this. This will leave, this will leave. Yeah, okay. This is important. After first appeal, can recovery proceedings initiate? Recovery of outstanding dues can start after the period of 3 months. If you will remember, the period for appeal is a 3 months period. 3 महीना में आपको अपील लगाना है appellate authority में या फिर ट्राइब्यूनल में, दोनों के अंदर 3-3 महीना. So thereby, ideally, no recovery proceeding should start within a period of 3 months. After 3 months, the recovery proceeding should start. अब ट्राइब्यूनल बना नहीं है, तो 3 महीना निकल गया है, रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग शुरू हो सकती है. However, there was a circular in 2024 saying that if you want to file an appeal in appellate tribunal, please make the payment of appellate tribunal and also file an undertaking that we will file the case in GSTAT. After that, it will be presumed that you will go in appellate tribunal, thereby no recovery proceedings can initiate. This is a very big relief to a lot of our clients. There were demand notices of certain hundreds of crores, I think 200 crores or something. And the local tax officer initiated a demand. Immediately, they have initiated a recovery. So even after filing this undertaking and showing the circular in 2024, they were very hesitant to stop the recovery proceedings. We had to finally go to High Court and take a stay order from the High Court. But this is a very helpful, I think, in smaller cases. No appeal can be filed in 4 cases. First, if there is any transfer of proceedings from one officer to another officer, you cannot file an appeal. An order pertaining to seizure or retention of books, you cannot file an appeal. So, agar prosecution sanction hua, because this is an internal matter, you cannot file an appeal. An order with regard to where taxes, section 80 says कि आप कुछ tax आपको pay करना है, पैसा नहीं है, तो officer says okay, I will accept your installments, payment in installments. He does not pass an order in such a manner. He may reject your application also. Thereby, order under section 80 के against भी appeal नहीं हो सकता. Department appeal file कर सकता है. Monetary limits हैं. I will not go into that. I'll be a little faster. ये जरूरी है. This I want to deal with. So, दो बातें, parties to an appeal shall not be entitled to produce any additional evidence. No additional evidence is to be permitted. There is a restriction on new evidence. Appellants generally cannot produce any new evidence. Exceptions. First, refusal by lower authority. जो भी आपका नीचे वाला authority था, उसने आपका documents accept नहीं करे. Or appellant can produce sufficient reasons to show that why I was not able to give this documentation. Relevant evidence is missed. The evidence related to a particular ground wasn't produced. Lack of opportunity of being heard was given. In such case, appellate authority or appellate tribunal can allow for additional evidence after they record the reasons in writing for admitting such evidences. Please note, इस केस में जो आपकी लोअर अथॉरिटी थी, एजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी, उसको बुलाया जाएगा और उसको पूछा जाएगा कि आपने डॉक्यूमेंट्स क्यों एडमिट नहीं करे. तो प्रैक्टिकली सेइंग आई बिलीव जीएसटी 80 में एडिशन, क्योंकि बर्डन बहुत ज्यादा होगा, तो इनिशियली एडिशनल एविडेंस परमिट करवाना बहुत डिफिकल्ट होगा. इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड इंश्योर कि वॉट एवर डॉक्यूमेंट्स यू हैव, प्लीज फाइल दैट द एजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी. इन सर्टेन ऑफ आवर केसेस विद द ऑफिसर इज नॉट रेडी टू पास अ फेवरिंग ऑर्डर. पहले तो क्या होता है, हम थोड़ा स्लो डॉक्यूमेंट्स देते हैं जस्ट टू एंश्योर दैट मच डॉक्यूमेंट्स आर नॉट अवेलेबल विद द टैक्स ऑफिसर. बट इफ आफ्टर अ सर्टेन पॉइंट वी बिलीव, आई एम टेलिंग प्रैक्टिकली, कि this we will not give a positive order, then in such case we just lock stock barrel everything and just pass it on to the adjudicating authority on record saying was the entire documents is now with you. You decide positive or negative, does not matter. So it is very, very important to ensure that there is no need for additional evidence and the entire documentation is with the tax officer even before the case is decided. Additional evidences could be a problem in AA and AT appellate tribunals also. I'm not discussing. These are all a lot of case laws. I'll share with you detailed PPT. You guys can, see. Just cover. Can you lie in tribunal? All the proceeding before appellate tribunal shall be deemed to be judicial proceedings. Thereby, you can be punished or imprisoned or cost can be imposed on you. So please don't lie out. I want to discuss one or two things. A very large PPT. Rectification of mistake we have already discussed. This is good. Tribunal is bound by statute. If you want to challenge any provision of the law, section 17, subsection 5, and say that this is ultra vires the constitution, etc., etc., then tribunal is not the right forum. Writ jurisdiction is the right forum. Tribunal can consider rules which are ultra vires the act. CSTAT can consider whether rules are ultra vires the act or not. So the delegated legislation of the act is the rules, notification act, etc. So for those ultra virus items which are against the act, those cases tribunal can take up and decide on merits. This I will not take. Sitting hours, let me just tell you the sitting hours. Morning 10:30 a.m. to 1:30, 1:30, 2:30, there will be a break or the lunch. 2:30 to 4:30, again it will sit. Office working hours will be full day from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Office working hours means your registrars and your filing of appeals, etc. This is again an important page. Dues of litigation, acknowledgement of written replies submitted is very important. In a lot of our cases that come to us, many a times a fellow professional tells us that he has filed all the papers, all the documents, but for certain documents the acknowledgements are not available. My dear friends, if the acknowledgement in the form of a written letter or an email is not available, that basically means the documents were not filed. Thereby, it is not taken on record. We'll have to go in through additional submission. Record the date of service of every communication. Whenever the notice comes to you, whenever a summon comes to you, please carry that envelope. Ensure that the communication or receipt is available to you. I'll tell you, in one of my clients, very important, a written someone has come to a company, it has reached on time. However, the company has a procedure whereby if anything you write to the MD of the company, it will not directly be given to the MD. It will be passed through numerous channels. Passing through those numerous channels will took 4 to 5 days. After 4 to 5 days, the date has already gone, and the tax officer wanted to impose a penalty. We very categorically in writing said that you have given a document, it was received by your office, but not by the person who you have asked to summon. So the date of communication, not only in your office, but whomsoever it intends to, is also noted and very clearly written. In our case, there was it's like a multinational company, so they have a record of every time passing up the letter from one register to another register. Address all communication to the specific authority. Don't write open letters. Ensure politeness. Very important to be polite. Do not deviate from prescribed forms and formats. Page numbering is must. Ensure there are no spelling mistakes. Don't use short forms. Do not encourage telephonic communication with the any adjudicating authority or the appellate authority. Please don't try to call them on phone. You may be recorded. Closed collar black coat or the closed open collar black coat. Females, we have a black coat with white sari or any other white dress. We may usually call the authority, appellate authority or the appellate tribunal authority as sir. Meet the court master, be very polite, meet the departmental representative, ask him whether he's asking for an adjournment or we'll be discussing on merits, ensure that the letter of authorization is available. You may call him my lord or your honor. Professional opportunities. The moment GST 80 is formulated, there will be plethora of opportunities for two reasons. First, if I am sitting in Delhi, because of place of supply, a lot of cases will fall back in Delhi. Second, High Court, there are a lot of pendency in High Court with regard to GST matters. A lot of High Courts will direct the appeals in the CSTAT, in the GST 80, because wherever there is an order from a double A appellate authority and there was no GSTAT, people have approached High Court. All these cases will be directed to GST 80 the moment it is formed. I believe the moment GST 80 is formed, the disposal of appeals by appellate authority will be fastened up like anything. I'll tell you one of the cases I was having in UP Noida. The appellate authority has heard our case and he said that your case is perfect, you will win the case, but it's very typical or technical. I need week 10 days to decide and write the order, not just to understand. Next day we come to the tax officer, the appellate authority. He said, boss, I don't have time, I'll pass the order against you. And we asked him what are the reason. He said his superior has instructed to pass 20 orders a day and close the files because appellate tribunal will soon be formed. This is 6 months, 1 year ago. So the idea is, I believe, based on that conversation, the moment GST appellate tribunal is formed, we will expect that lot of cases at appellate authority which are stuck for years together, they'll be decided whether yes or no, because you don't have time to give good orders, positive orders. A lot of cases will be decided against the taxpayer and the cases will fall back to GST appellate. So we believe there is a lot of opportunities in GST appellate tribunal that will have in future. And guys, I think Sunil, we can take up few questions before wrapping up. I have completed my presentation.
Yes,
And
sir.
we'll also
So,
share the presentation because this is a big document that we have prepared with a lot of case laws. So important matters I have covered.
yeah. So, sir, Sachin Kataria is asking, can we file GST refund on duty text, inverted duty structure? However, there is an order pending for previous year against which appeal has already been filed. Can AO uphold the refund even if appeal is pending?
So you'll have to ask again.
So his question is, sir, can we file refund on inverted duty structure? However, there is an order pending for previous year against which appeal has already been filed. Can AO
Answer is yes.
uphold?
Answer is yes. Sachin, answer is yes. Every application is a different application. Uh, Technically, that depends whether the officer will wait for the authority to decide or he may pass the order. So technically, it is because the refund has to be filed within the period of 2 years. So you ideally, in fact, it's other way around. You should not wait. You should file it. There is no challenge.
So we have no further question.
Sir, I have a question. Good evening.
Good evening.
So my question to you is that refund has been filed after the due date, after the 2 years time. But the assessing officer, but the GSTO has not has passed the acknowledgement within 60 days, and तब उन्होंने deny भी नहीं किया कि मतलब ये beyond time pass हुआ है. Now it's been 1 year, he is not passing the order. So can we say that you have acknowledged it, so you have to pass the order in favor?
No. मतलब देखो, मतलब yes, you can say, of course, but will it be heard? Will they, accept this? Because you should have. So what you are saying is क्योंकि 2 साल already बीत गए थे, आपने मेरा application ले लिया, your portal has allowed and accepted my application, you have not passed the order. That basically means the limitation period ideally should be checked by the portal itself rather than the officer, right? Your officer has not rejected. Now,
Yes.
these kinds of argument generally does not work with the tax officer. I've seen generally does not work with the appellate authority. These kinds of arguments works very well with the High Court and Supreme Court. I believe these arguments will work in GST Appellate Tribunal also, which ensures natural justice, which ensures fairness, which ensure taxpayer friendliness. These are those kind of this is not a legal argument. These are very taxpayer friendly argument. These are of high value, I suppose, but at the tribunal stage.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So one more question, Mr. Ankur Garg. His question is, what is your opinion, as these days there are number of orders come for retrospective cancellation of GST and of supplier?
So what is your opinion on what? Yes, coming. So what's the problem? Ankur, you have to write the problem also. What is the problem? Himanshu has asked one question till the time. Can we adjust the amount deposited in cash during proceedings under dispute against pre-deposit? Himanshu, here, the problem is, my dear friend, it is all done online. The pre-deposits, etc. has to be paid online. If you have deposited in cash, whether it is coming in your cash ledger, answer is no. If it is coming in your cash ledger, absolutely it can be adjusted as pre-deposit. But I believe it will not be coming in your cash ledger. Thereby, procedurally, the answer is no. Now, legally, you may approach the High Court or the tribunal saying, boss, I have to deposit. It is a deposit. It should be taken as deposit. Please reflect the entry in the cash ledger. If this is done, it can be done.
Yes, sir. That's it, I think.
That's it. Thanks,
Yeah.
Sunil. Thank you, everyone.
So thank you so much, Rajat sir, for your valuable presentation. And it was truly informative and full of practical insights. On behalf of all the participants, I sincerely thank CA Rajat Mohan sir for taking out his time from his busy schedule and sharing such a detailed knowledge on GSTAT practice, especially on how to approach our pleading and drafting. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rajat sir, for this valuable insight.
Would also like to thank Chawla Saab for arranging this session. And सर मैंने इतना वाइब्रेंट ऑडियंस बहुत ही रेयर देखा है सर.
नहीं सचिव हमारा very selective and very interesting members have joined this, and it was really very interactive session of yours, sir. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable time, sir.
Thank you, Chawla Saab.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sunil bhai.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank you all the participants for your time and active.
Thank you.
Thank you, Murthy, for your quality questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Okay.